Good evening, you're watching the News at 6 with me, Sean Russell. The News at 6 is all about the day's biggest developing stories, and the big development that's happening all the way across in Bengaluru today. The BJP National Executive is meeting, a lot of hard decisions to be taken in over there, and we'll be getting inputs live from Bangalore as well on that. But first, the headlines we're tracking right now. Indian nationals return with horror tales of civil strife in Yemen. Residents battled food shortages even as Houthi rebels advance despite unrelenting coalition airstrikes. Lots of similarities between government and RBI's thinking, says Prime Minister, tells Apex Bank to prepare roadmap for financial inclusion. BJP leaders gather in Bengaluru for a two-day national executive meeting to discuss ways to expand the party base and communicate government achievements. And Iraq claims victory over the Islamic State in Tikrit after a month-long battle. UN report claims 71% increase in foreign fighters joining insurgents. The top story this evening, 358 Indians returned home early today from Yemen, where they were stranded by the ongoing strife. They were rescued by the Indian Navy on Tuesday night. They were flown back on Indian Air Force planes to Mumbai and Kochi. More people are expected to return by Friday. India has also offered to help Sri Lanka to evacuate the citizens too.
The first batch of 358 Indians evacuated from strife-torn Yemen is back home safely, while 168 rescued Indians landed in Kochi. A batch of 190 landed in Mumbai early on Thursday. Indian Navy undertook a daredevil rescue act to evacuate the stranded Indians from Yemen and shifted them to Djibouti on Wednesday. The rescued people urged the centre to step up its rescue mission as the situation in Yemen is deteriorating fast.
तो वहाँ पर बहुत जो ना अभी मिसाइल से बॉम्बिंग बहुत आसानी हो गई है, यानी सिक्योर नहीं है लाइफ वहाँ पर. एंड वी आर थैंक फॉर द नेवी एंड फॉर द डिफेंस मिनिस्टर स्पेशली. They provided us a good facility.
No, the situation is very pathetic there. Now, really, we are very thankful to the Ministry of External Affairs. When we reached in Djibouti, then our Minister of Vacation, General Vacation, he was on board. So he welcomed us and he gave a nice treat, and he arranged everything in Djibouti.
BJP leaders and state ministers received the two batches at the Mumbai and Kochi airports. They offered all help to the rescued people reached home in other parts of the country.
भारत सरकार की ओर से और महाराष्ट्र सरकार की ओर से उनको ट्रैवलिंग अलाउंस, उनके खाने पीने की व्यवस्था, और रेलवे ने उनको अपने गांव ले जाने की पूरी व्यवस्था की है.
168 out of which about 17 are from Tamil Nadu. We are providing all facilities for Tamil Nadu people also. We are sending them to their destination. All others have gone to their own places.
About 320 Indians are still stranded in Sana'a in Yemen. Some of them reached the Sana'a airport on Wednesday and were even given their boarding passes, but were later asked to go back as the Indian embassy has still not received clearance from the Saudi Arabia. Two Air India Airbus 320 have landed in Sana'a and are expected to fly them back home soon. India has also offered to help Sri Lanka in evacuating their citizens from Yemen. There are reportedly around 100 Sri Lankan expatriates in Yemen. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, in Yemen, high tension persists on the grounds as Houthi rebels make further advances in central Aden, a stronghold of Yemeni President Mansour Hadi. Reports suggest the Russian consulate in Aden has been hit by Saudi-led coalition airstrikes. As countries mount operations to pull out their nationals, here's a report.
Houthi rebels gaining upper hand in Yemen as their base with tanks and ammunitions pushed forward into Aden, a strategic port city and the main foothold of fighters loyal to President Mansour Hadi. All this despite continuous airstrikes by Saudi-led coalition. Yemen's Shiite Houthi rebels held protests against Saudi-led airstrikes in Sana'a.
اجتمع الشعب اليمني الآن يعبر عن ضبحه وعن نكرانه وعن استنكاره لما يقوم به الطيران السعودي والأمريكي لاستهداف اليمن وأبنائه وأطفاله ونسائه.
Several countries including India, China, Pakistan and Somalia has evacuated their citizens and the mission continues. Officials said a Russian plane chartered for the evacuation of their citizens was diverted to Cairo after the coalition denied permission to land in capital Sana'a. Russian embassy in Yemen also reported that their consulate in Aden has been hit by the Saudi-led coalition airstrikes. Until now, 103 civilians and fighters have been killed in the city since clashes began last Tuesday. Meanwhile, Yemen's foreign minister said that their ally, former President Ali Abdullah Saleh, whose forces are better trained and armed, is country's bigger problem.
Our main problem now is not the Houthis. They are rebels, they are few, they have only light weapons, which most of the Yemenis, as you know, have got it. But because the Ali Abdullah Saleh forces, which have heavy artillery, have all kinds of weapons, they are the one.
Global watchers fear that if Saudi-led coalition airstrikes fail to quell the violence in Yemen, it could spill over into the border regions as well. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has asked the Reserve Bank to prepare a 20-year roadmap for financial inclusion. He also nudged banks to be considerate in giving loans to the poor and also while making recoveries from them. He was addressing the 80th anniversary of the RBI.
आरबीआई के सभी नीति निर्धारकों को अभिनंदन करता हूं कि उन्होंने फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन को अपना विषय के रूप में पसंद किया है और 80 साल के समय इस अवसर को मना रहे हैं। इसका मतलब आप जब 100 साल के होंगे और जब शताब्दी मनाते होंगे, वो शताब्दी फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन को लेकर के कहां पर पहुंची होगी, मैं समझता हूं उसके टारगेट भी सेट करोगे।
The Prime Minister urging the country's top bank to push for financial inclusion, saying it should not just remain a government program but become an article of faith. He also listed out 4 dates that could be milestones for achieving this, including Mahatma Gandhi's 150th birth anniversary in 2019. The Prime Minister also asked banks to be more considerate towards the poor. He expressed concern over farmers' suicides and said banks need to be more considerate when giving them loans and while making recoveries from them.
80 साल मना रहे हैं आरबीआई के, तब क्या हमारे दिल में आवाज उठ सकती है कि भाई हम हमारी बैंकिंग व्यवस्था के हाथ पर इतने पसारेंगे कि कभी किसान को कर्ज के कारण कम से कम आत्महत्या करने की नौबत नहीं आएगी? क्या ये सपना हमारा नहीं हो सकता?
Talking about the success of the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana and the direct benefit transfer of LPG subsidy, he said both these schemes had shown the potential of the enormous role that the banking sector can play in ensuring financial inclusion.
Our tasks are far from over. The nation has enormous financing needs in infrastructure, and far too many of our banks already have too much exposure. Big corporate infrastructure players have also taken too much debt. The required national push to finance infrastructure should not override financial stability, which is key to national security.
Prime Minister Modi also called upon bankers to extend credit to resource-rich eastern states. He said Eastern India had immense economic potential and the banking sector should recognize and plan for this. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, the BJP National Executive's two-day meet will start in Bengaluru tomorrow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and other top leaders of the party will attend the crucial meet where the party is expected to chalk out a strategy to reach out to farmers on the issue of the contentious land bill. The political resolution of the party, which is likely to be discussed on the last day of the meet, is expected to list out the strategy in detail.
The issue of land bill and the BJP's strategy regarding it are likely to be the top focus of the BJP National Executive meet. The party leadership will make a presentation on the issue for all its delegates. In this, it is expected that a point-by-point strategy will be laid out on how to counter the opposition's attack on the issue of the contentious land acquisition bill. The party feels it's a battle of perception and that it must reach out to the farmers and the common man on the issue.
भूमि अधिग्रहण बिल को लेकर जिस पर आरएसएस भी काफी खुश नहीं है आपसे और विपक्षी दल संसद में पारित नहीं होने दे रहा है, क्या इसको लेकर कोई स्ट्रेटेजी बनेगी? क्या सरकार को पार्टी कोई हिदायत देगी कि अमेंडमेंट एक्सेप्ट करे ऑपोजिशन का?
देखिए, ये राष्ट्रीय कार्य समिति की बैठक है और इस बैठक में वो सारे विषय जो जनता से जुड़े हुए हैं उस पर हम चर्चा करते ही हैं।
The inaugural speech by party president Amit Shah will also be focused on the issue. BJP is expected to take on the main opposition party, the Congress, on the matter. The party claims that in a meeting of chief ministers in 2014, all Congress chief ministers had demanded changes in the land acquisition bill. Another issue that the meet will focus on is the expansion of the BJP's base in states where it is weak.
सदस्यता अभियान 1 महीने तक चलने के बाद फिर सत्यापन होगा, फिर संपर्क अभियान होगा, फिर उन कार्यकर्ताओं का प्रशिक्षण होगा और भारतीय जनता पार्टी दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी पार्टी के नाते इस सदस्यता अभियान को और जोर शोर से चलाएगी।
This is the party's first meeting of the national executive after it came to power in May last year. Apart from the political resolution, a resolution on foreign policy would also be passed. In this resolution, the party is likely to support the Modi government's Make in India campaign. Shyam Sundar's report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And our correspondent Shyam Sundar is in Bengaluru tracking all these developments happening in the BJP camp. Shyam, and he joins us on the phone line from there. Shyam, very quickly across to you. What's the mood? Because Bengaluru is now not a state that is controlled by the BJP. It's the BJP looking to make inroads into South India as well. It's almost a year now since the Modi government also came to power. So a lot on the agenda, the land bill. Just take us through what's going on. How's it set up?
Well, Ishan, as far as National Executive meeting is concerned, this meeting will try to give a message in the country that BJP as the party is fully backing the reform agenda of Narendra Modi government, and because there were some confusion that many of the RSS organizations and many frontal organizations of BJP are not very happy as far as land acquisition bill is concerned, and there were concerns shown that there may be a perception created in the country if government goes ahead with its amendment in land acquisition bill that BJP is a party which is working for corporates, and BJP is a party which is not in favor of farmers. So in this meeting tomorrow, first resolution will be passed on foreign policy, and there will be a message given from this meeting that Narendra Modi is a popular leader as far as foreign policy is concerned, and the way he is traveling abroad and the kind of support he is getting in US and other countries. And then in this resolution they will also talk about Make in India campaign of Narendra Modi government, and the day after tomorrow, the last day, there will be political resolution, and point by point party will try to tell their delegates that how land acquisition bill is very crucial for the development, and how to counter opposition's attack on this issue. So from this meeting, party wants to give a message that BJP is fully backing Modi government on its reform agenda.
Right, the BJP certainly wanting to send that message out, but as far as the BJP itself is concerned, Shyam, a lot of, it's almost a year now, so how's the mood within the party? There have been a little murmurs of rebellions here and there, but nothing major as a challenge to present BJP President Amit Shah, but the RSS also not too happy. It was said about a week or 10 days ago that the RSS had sent out a message saying that the BJP President at least should become more accessible. So how are things working out on the political equation on the behind the scene front?
Well, today there is a meeting going on of office bearers of the party, and Prime Minister has joined that meeting at 4:30, and he will be addressing around 7 office. He will be addressing the office bearers, and of course there are certain issues. The way party got defeated in Delhi elections, and the way RSS has given the feedback about Bihar and UP. RSS has shown concern. If land acquisition bill issue is not handled carefully, then it can harm party in Bihar and UP. But as far as atmosphere in Bengaluru is concerned, yes, there are some concerns, but from here, leaders want to give a message that party is united on the all issues and development agenda has to go on, and there will be no compromise on this issue. So yes, there are some concerns, and of course, in the meeting of office bearers, these issues may be discussed. But as far as the National Executive committee meeting is concerned, the message will be that party is united and development agenda has to work, and that is the priority of BJP and Modi government as present.
Right, Sham, thanks for all this development. Sham, of course, we'll be keeping a track of that big national executive of the BJP for us. That's all from Sham for now. But we move on to Jammu and Kashmir, where the flood situation in the state has eased with no fresh spell of rain seen in the state today. Water levels in the Jhelum receded several feet below the danger mark, further reducing the flood threat. Rescue teams, though, still are on standby in case of any eventuality.
Clear skies and improved weather reassured the Kashmir residents on Thursday, a day after overnight rainfall reignited fears of a fresh deluge. Jhelum is flowing 9 feet below danger mark, while the water level at Ram Munshi Bagh also went down considerably.
आज सुबह 5:30 से लेके अभी तक कहीं से रेनफॉल रिपोर्ट नहीं हुआ है। हल्की फुल्की बारिश चल रहा है एक दो जगह स्टेशन से, बाकी अभी फिलहाल बारिश थमा हुआ है और अगले 24 घंटे के लिए अमूमन जो है लाइट रेनफॉल होने का चांसेस है। वो
5 दिन से यहाँ पुंछ में बहुत ही मूसलाधार बारिश थी, बिल्कुल गाड़ियाँ ठप थी, रोड टूटी हुई थी, आना जाना बंद था, गाँव में बहुत लोगों का नुकसान हुआ है। ठीक है जी, और आज भगवान की दया से थोड़ी सी जो धूप निकली है, इससे हमें राहत की सांस मिले और हम आशा करते हैं कि आगे भी मौसम ऐसा ही रहेगा।
Residents in affected areas, however, continue to face hardships. Those evacuated from low-lying areas are still forced to stay in tents. Water from the Dal Lake has also overflown and entered residential areas, causing inconvenience to people living nearby.
यहाँ कुछ दिनों से बारिश गिर रहा है, इसलिए यहाँ का पानी का लेवल बढ़ गया और जो गेट वालों ने उसने गेट बंद रखा, पानी का लेवल बढ़ गया, इसलिए यहाँ कुछ घरों में और शहरों में पूरा तबाही मच गया।
बच्चे भी ऐसे परेशान हैं, खुद भी हम परेशान हैं, करेंगे क्या?
The crucial Jammu-Srinagar highway also remained closed due to the massive landslides triggered by heavy rainfall in the last few days.
हम यहाँ 3 दिन से फंसे हुए हैं और यहाँ पे कोई इंतजामत नहीं है ड्राइवरों का। हमारा खाना शाना राशन खत्म हो गया है।
Incessant rains in the valley caused the death of 15 people so far. Despite improved weather, authorities say they're taking no chances. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, 2 security personnel were killed during a fierce gun battle between militants and government forces in Baramulla. The gun battle erupted when militants opened fire on security forces. 2 other soldiers and 1 civilian were also injured in the exchange of fire. However, the militants managed to escape from the scene. A massive search operation has been launched to track them down. This is the 3rd such encounter to take place in Jammu and Kashmir between militants and security forces in less than a month. No time for a very quick break right now, but coming up on the other side, militants have laid siege at a Kenyan university. At least 15 have been killed so far. More on that on the other side.
Malnutrition affects the brain even across generations. We have an integrated brain mapping and brain imaging complex which identified how the various circuits of the human brain work and function. A focus on science is a very important investment for the future.
Watch the best scientific minds come together and unlock the achievements of the scientific personas of the country. Only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. Now, Congress President Sonia Gandhi today reacted to the allegedly racist remarks made by Union Minister Giriraj Singh, stating that she didn't want to respond to people with a narrow mindset. Sonia Gandhi was speaking to reporters at a village in Madhya Pradesh, where she met farmers hit by unseasonal rains. Giriraj Singh yesterday had said he regretted his remarks and that he maintained they were off the record. The BJP declared the chapter closed after his clarification, while the Congress said the minister's comment was bordering on insanity and demanded his resignation.
मैं समझती हूँ कि इस तरह की संकीर्ण मानसिकता के लोगों जवाब देना या टिप्पणी करना बिल्कुल मुनासिब नहीं है. यही मेरा जवाब.
Some more news from across the country in Nationwide now. Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar reached Nepal today for a two-day visit as part of his SAARC Yatra. Jaishankar is also scheduled to hold talks with Nepal President Ram Baran Yadav, Prime Minister Sushil Koirala and other leaders. Implementation of issues agreed upon during the previous visits by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj will be part of his focus during the trip. Whistleblower IAS officer Ashok Khemka has been handed transfer once again. The Haryana government has transferred him from the Transport Department after a 4-month stint. A CAG report last month vindicated Khemka's allegations against Robert Vadra's land deals in Haryana. Khemka reacted to the decision by terming the transfer as painful. Khemka has been transferred around 50 times in his 23-year-old career so far. Aam Aadmi Party has suspended another national executive member, Rakesh Sinha. He was suspended after he raised questions over the way the party's internal Lokpal, Admiral L. Ramdas, was sacked. Sinha had accused the AAP's leadership's decision over removing Ramdas and Prashant Bhushan without due consultations from all members of the panel. Some international news now, and Iraq today claimed victory over the Islamic State insurgents in Tikrit after a month-long battle. Iraqi troops are still fighting to clear the last remaining IS holdouts in the region. And the victory comes as a UN release report now claims that there has been a 71% increase in the number of foreign fighters joining the militant group.
Tikrit witnessed a significant victory for the Iraqi government against the Islamic State. After weeks of intense fighting and defending the onslaught, the Iraqi troops declared a victory in Tikrit. Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi paraded through the city raising Iraqi flags. Only small pockets of resistance remained around the city.
الحمد لله الخسائر نسبيا قليله بحمد الله. احنا بالطبع البعض تكلم عن تاخير هجوم، الهجوم لم يتاخر ولكن كانت هناك تحضيرات لتقليل الخسائر والحمد لله مكننا من ان ندخل المدينه بخسائر قليله قدمنا شهداء.
Operation to liberate the town has been the biggest since the government assault began against the Islamic State. The mission was supported by the US-led coalition. The Prime Minister has vowed that Islamic State would be driven out of the Iraqi territory it still holds. The government now has its focus on recapturing Mosul, Iraq's second-largest city, from the hands of the militants. The United Nations too welcomed the recent victories of the Iraqi forces.
He called it a victory for all the Iraqi people and said that the United Nations stands ready to assist the provincial and national authorities in responding to the needs of the thousands of displaced.
However, a UN report has raised concerns over more foreign fighters joining the militant outfits. The report says more than 25,000 foreign fighters from 100 nations have travelled to join groups such as Al-Qaeda and Islamic State. It said the number of foreign fighters worldwide had soared by 71% between the middle of 2014 and March 2015. The social media also has a major role to play in it. The report highlights Syria and Iraq as finishing schools for extremists. It calls for greater intelligence sharing between nations to help identify foreign fighters and fight the growing menace. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Iran nuclear talks have gone into another day beyond the deadline. Negotiators claim progress in talks, but not enough for an agreement just yet. However, it is still unclear if the talks could yield a deal framework.
US Secretary of State John Kerry postponed his departure from Switzerland. He stayed back for another day of tense talks over Iran's nuclear program, 2 days after the deadline lapsed without a deal. The foreign ministers of China, France and Russia have already left the talks a day before. Iran and Germany's foreign minister said negotiators were still facing a tough struggle, but hopes haven't faded altogether.
پیشرفت‌های خیلی خوبی داشتیم. در بسیاری از زمینه‌ها به نکات مورد نظر طرفین که همون در واقع بازی با حاصل جمع غیر صفر هست رسیدیم، با حاصل جمع مثبت یا برد هست رسیدیم.
The negotiators are hoping to produce a joint statement outlining a general political commitment to resolve concerns about Iran's nuclear program in exchange for relief of sanctions. However, the key sticking points are the limits on Iran's freedom to conduct advanced nuclear research and a framework for lifting UN sanctions.
The Iranians want all 6 UN Security Council resolutions to be terminated. The P5+1 has other ideas about whether or not that's a good idea. And then on research and development, they're going to need to find some compromise position on these 2 issues.
Meanwhile, the Obama administration has warned against any hasty calls made on the deal. It also clarified that all sides will quit the talks if Iran refuses to budge.
At the end of the day, you can want a deal too badly. The bottom line is I'd like to end the ambitions of the Iranians diplomatically. They can negotiate as long as they want to negotiate. I just want a good deal. And here's what I'm afraid of. We're going to get a deal that will be in the eyes of the Israelis and the Arabs an unacceptable deal.
Negotiations have already been extended twice since an interim agreement 2 years ago between Iran and the US, Russia, China, Britain, France and Germany. None of the sides are interested in a third extension. Any agreement would set the stage for further talks aimed at achieving a comprehensive accord by 30th of June. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
A gunman from the Islamist Al-Shabaab group killed at least 15 people and took students hostage at a university in northeastern Kenya. 65 others were wounded when a swarm of gunmen stormed a Kenyan university in Garissa before dawn. Troops are engaging the gunmen while masked attackers fired indiscriminately and have taken hostages. Well, that's it from us. Goodbye.